Is the cost of groceries a hindrance to you being able to stay on top of your nutrition? Do you feel like every time you go to the grocery store, you wind up spending way too much, which makes you feel like giving up? I totally feel you. In today's episode, I'm going to share with you how I saved $200 off my last month's grocery budget, even while eating high protein meals. No, I did not eat beans and rice at every meal either. If you're sick of selling your soul to the grocery store, then tighten your ponytail, grab a pen and paper, and let's get it. Tired of feeling exhausted after training? Confused about how to fuel your body without all the food rules? Welcome to Female Sports Nutrition, where I'll help you fuel strong, build muscle, and perform your best, all while breaking free from diet culture. I'm Kristen, a sports dietitian, trainer, and Jesus lover, and I'm here to help you fuel with freedom. Lace up your shoes, grab that smoothie, and let's jump in. I know you're so sick of Googling what and how much you should be eating to get stronger and healthy, only to become more confused than you were before. I know you're tired of feeling like you can't eat anything because it's bad for you, or it'll make you gain weight, or who knows what else. I know you just want to build muscle and confidence the right way without the food police giving you misinformation. It's time to stop scouring the internet and feeling stuck, not sure where to start. I want to show you the easiest and simplest way to get stronger, build back that confidence, and no longer struggle with undereating and underperforming. I'm offering a free 30-minute one-on-one consultation with me so we can explore what's holding you back, what your goals are, and map out a plan to get you there. To snag your spot, head on over to elitenutritionandperformance.com/consult, but hurry because there's only a limited number of spots available. Let's be honest, groceries as a female athlete can be really expensive. Active females need hundreds, if not thousands, more calories per day than their sedentary female counterparts, which automatically means that your grocery bill is going to be higher than somebody that doesn't work out nearly as much as you do. On top of that, the cost of groceries have increased dramatically. Did you know that from 2020 to 2023, groceries increased by 25%? That's a quarter in just 3 years. And from 2000 to 2025, so just a 25-year span, groceries increased by 88%. That is a super high amount. That means that your groceries have almost doubled in the past 25 years. So let's just take a gallon of milk. If a gallon of milk cost $2 back in 2000, it now costs $3.76. Like I said, almost doubled. So if you need thousands of more calories per day, that means your grocery budget is going to be really pretty high. And I know that this can really feel defeating, especially when you're trying to eat healthy. And you may feel like, what in the world am I supposed to do? How can I possibly afford this? Well, I'm going to share with you what I did last month and this month too, but the month isn't over yet, of how I saved $200 off my grocery budget for the month. And that's actually for my entire family, so a family of 5. It might just be you, so you might be able to save even more. And how I did it with meal planning while still eating high protein. And let me tell you this, I have celiac disease, so I can't eat gluten. And I also can't tolerate dairy either. So I'm not eating the cheap of the cheap foods either. I have to buy gluten-free foods, and I also have to buy dairy-free foods as well. So let me tell you what I did. Number 1 is I wrote out a meal plan for the entire month and posted in my kitchen. Now, that might sound crazy and that might sound overwhelming to you. And I also did not plan out breakfasts and lunches and snacks. I just planned out dinners because dinners to me are kind of like the basis for everything. So I planned out dinners for the entire month based off of what I already had in my house. That is the key, to look at what you already have in your house. I can guarantee you probably have enough food in your house to last you at least half the month. So I had some frozen chicken. I had some frozen ground beef. I had some fish. I had rice. I had potatoes. And I just made meals based off of those things. I did not make them fancy meals, but rather I looked at the components. So I need a protein, I need some type of grain or starch, some vegetables, and some fat in there. So I just made meals based off of what I already had and those components. Now, my stomach works better if I eat more protein and less grains personally, and that may not be the case for you. It might be the other way around. So whatever works for you, you can shift the ratios But the key here is to look at what you already have in your house. Like if you have a deep freezer, really get in there and see what's at the bottom of your deep freezer. Also look in your pantry, look in your refrigerator, all these things, and start incorporating different foods. So you can certainly incorporate beans and rice into your meals, but that does not mean that your entire meal needs to be beans and rice. So it might be that you have burrito bowls with some ground beef, some black beans, some rice, and then you put some lettuce, tomato, salsa, whatever on top. And that's your meal. And so what I did was I planned out 5 dinners for the week. And the reason why I did 5 dinners is because one night I save for leftovers, and then another night we usually do dinner with friends. So we do kind of like a potluck type dinner. So I didn't really need to factor that into my monthly meal plan. I did go back and add that in after the fact once I knew what I was bringing. But, ahead of time, I couldn't have factored that in. So when I was making these meals, I made meals that used similar ingredients. So if I, for example, had a whole chicken that I cooked, I might have grilled it, or maybe I did it in the Instant Pot as a rotisserie chicken, whatever. I knew that I was going to have some leftover chicken. So then I would use that leftover chicken for a subsequent meal that week. So maybe I took some of the chicken off of there and I put it on some pizza, for example, whatever the case is, but you're kind of using similar ingredients if you know that you're going to have extras for subsequent meals. So again, look at what you already have in your house, make easy, simple meals based off of what you have, and then use the leftovers for other meals. I also incorporated cheap, healthy meals like breakfast for dinner. And the breakfast for dinner was not like a bunch of waffles and, other garbage. Not that waffles are garbage, but, it wasn't just a bunch of sweets. What I did was I sauteed some vegetables with some eggs, and then, I had either some toast or I had, some waffles or pancakes or right now I'm really into pumpkin muffins. So, maybe a pumpkin muffin, something like that. And so eggs are really cheap. It's a really cheap source of protein. And so every Friday was a cheap meal night. And we also combine that with a movie night for my kids because they love that. So to them, Friday nights are like the greatest nights because they get to have breakfast for dinner or pizza for dinner and watch a movie. So if I did pizza, again, I would save some of that chicken from earlier in the week and put it on my pizza, put some vegetables on there, and then I'd have a salad on the side. And now I have a complete meal. And it really didn't cost me a whole lot. Now, I will say the pizza, I am making that myself. And the reason why is because I just don't find gluten-free pizzas to be that tasty. And also they are very expensive. So I save money by making my own. And honestly, you can easily do this. You can buy pre-made crust, which isn't that expensive. Or if you want to get your own flour and make it yourself, that's totally fine, which honestly would save you the most money, but it's really not difficult. You could look up a recipe for that. And then I buy cans of tomato sauce and tomato paste, which is really going to cost me like less than $2. Mix that together, put some seasoning in there. That's my sauce for the pizza. And then I buy a bag of shredded mozzarella cheese. So my pizza is probably going to cost me like $5, whereas if I were to buy a frozen gluten-free pizza, I'm going to be spending more like $12. So I did make some things myself there. But like I said, I'm incorporating those cheap, healthy meals one day a week. And whatever that is for you is totally fine. It doesn't need to be breakfast for dinner or pizza. I also did not make impulse buys. So when I wrote out my meal plan for the entire month based off of what I already had, I then used this app, which I love, which is called Flip, F-L-I-P-P. Flip will tell you the grocery store ads for basically any grocery store in your area. And you can look on there. You could search for something by an item. So let's say you want to search for salmon. You can just type in salmon and it'll tell you what store has it on sale that week and for that price. Now, you may not want to run around to about 5 different grocery stores, but you get the idea. You can see where you're going to spend the least amount of money, and you could do your grocery shopping there. And I also made some of my meals based off of what was on sale. Now, I made my grocery list as I was making the meal plan. And this is really important because when you go to the grocery store, you need to stick to your plan and not make impulse buys. I know it's really difficult when you go in and you see this nice display of whatever, like right now it's fall. Oh, pumpkin this and Halloween that and whatever. I get it. It's really hard, but you have to stick to your list. And if you know that you won't be able to stick to your list, well, then just do grocery pickup. Walmart has a free grocery pickup. Target has free grocery pickup. Now, if you use Instacart, you're going to have to pay a little bit more, but it might be worth it because you're going to be spending less money than if you are going to be buying a whole bunch of impulse buys. So next up, I only bought a few things from Costco. Costco is one of those places where I swear you go in there and you're like, okay, I'm just going to come in here for some laundry detergent and some chicken and some cheese and some milk. And then you go through all the aisles and then you're like, oh, well, that looks really good. Yeah, I could try that. And then you wind up buying like this 500 pack of something that you don't need that much of. So I started really thinking about it like, okay, I don't need this much of whatever the product was. I only need, one can of tomato sauce, for example. I don't need to buy an entire box of it. So I'm just going to get that one can from a different grocery store so that I'm only spending, 65 cents or something like that instead of, over $10 on an entire box of tomato sauce, which I do understand in the long run, it is going to be cheaper to buy the entire box, but if you're not going to be using that much tomato sauce, it's probably not worth it. So think of it that way, like, do I need this much? Or if I only need one or two of that particular item, you're better off just getting it from the grocery store. So sometimes when I go into Costco, I'll be honest, I spend between $400 and $800. Sometimes I've literally spent $800 and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I spent that much money. But this time I reeled it in and I said, okay, I'm only going to get these few things that I know that I need from Costco because that's where I need to get it from. I can't get it elsewhere or it's cheaper at Costco or whatever the case is. And so I just stuck to my list when I went to Costco. The last thing that I did, and you may or may not have access to this by you, but if you do, I highly suggest you utilize it. I shopped at a discount grocery store. I did not do my entire shopping at a discount grocery store, but I did some of it. So there is a couple of these by my house, and they post everything on their Facebook page as to what they have in stock that day. And I will look at it from time to time and see, okay, do they have something that I need or maybe I want? So sometimes they have gluten-free bread there for literally $1. Gluten-free bread, if you've ever looked at it, it costs upwards of like $8, $9 a loaf. It's crazy. So if I can get a loaf of gluten-free bread for $1 and it's sourdough gluten-free bread, I'm going to buy it. So that's what I'm talking about. Like I'll incorporate foods from this discount grocery store because it is so much cheaper than going to the regular grocery store. Again, you may not have access to this by you, and that's okay. I still think that you can save a good chunk of money even without it. But if you do have access to that by your house, I would highly recommend doing it. And I will tell you, at least the ones by us, these discount grocery stores are nothing pretty. So don't expect that you're going to be walking into like a nice, pretty Whole Foods with like, fancy music playing and people are going to be helping you with your groceries. It's not like that at all. So just be prepared for that. It may be a hole in the wall, but that's okay because you're going to be saving a boatload of money so that you can fuel your body properly as a female athlete. Now, if you are listening to this and you're like, this sounds wonderful, this sounds great, and I really want to do this, but I still have no idea how to put this together, or this feels very overwhelming to me, and I know that meal planning is one of those areas that I struggle with, that is where I want you to reach out to me, and we will set up a time to chat so we can get you started on a plan that you can actually follow that works for you. All you need to do is head on over to my website, elitenutritionandperformance.com/consult. And you can schedule a time for us to chat. And if it's a good fit for you, we'll get you started and work you on your way to fueling your body well as a female athlete. Hey friend, if this podcast inspired you, encouraged you, or changed you, I would love for you to leave me a review and share it with a girlfriend who will find it helpful or inspiring. That is the best way you can thank me and help me share my knowledge so I can help more people just like you. I'm so thankful that you spent this time with me today, and I'd love to connect with you. Join my Facebook group, Female Sports Nutrition, or send me a DM on Instagram, or hop on over to my website, elitenutritionperformance.com. I'll see you back here next week.